This system back here, it's a little green band, a little strip, little wilderness area. There's nobody tending it. Nobody comes along and waters it, but it gets the same amount of water through rainfall that your garden does. So how is it that this system over here that has nobody coming out to water it, getting the same amount of water that your garden does, managed to get through the entire season and grow and prosper and do well? Now, perhaps the proper question is, where is that water being kept? Because at home, you can always store your water in a cistern or pump the water from a well and put it on the surface whenever you need it. But the forest back there, it doesn't have that. So it needs to be able to store that water some way so that it has access to it when it needs it. What we're going to do now is show you how you can duplicate that process at home at your garden. So if you've seen a lot of gardening videos, you may see things like wood chip walkways. There's wood chips in the walkway back there behind me. Wood chip mulch. That's very popular. And I use wood chips in the walkways. And I started out using an awful lot of wood chip mulch because I simply did not have a lot of organic matter to begin with, and I wanted to lay it down fast. So I started out with a bunch of wood chips. Any way you can add lots of organic matter early on is great. But the thing I'm going to show you is more of a long-term investment, and there's something deceptive about that little wood chip walkway behind me. It all comes back to the question of, where does the forest bank that water? Well, of course, it keeps it in organic matter in the soil. Mainly, it keeps it in living organic matter, in living tissues, plant roots, and of course, fungal networks, and bacteria, yes, and living organisms are all part of keeping that moisture. There's all kinds of life keeping moisture in the soil. There are things that help that along. For example, you've got the canopy and the understory providing that initial shade, protecting the surface from evaporation. And then you have additional layers below that. All of them contribute to keeping that water in the soil, all the life in the soil, and keeping everything healthy. The little hack that we're using here is developing a place where we can bank water in the soil using the walkways in between planting areas. Of all the things that I could put into my soil that would be capable of holding large amounts of water, it's fungal hyphae that really provide the most water storage in the soil. And the best way I can get lots and lots of fungal hyphae is to put down something that they're going to want to eat, and that's wood. And wood chips are free and plentiful and just about perfect for this purpose. And in the ground, it's going to take them about 2 years to break down. Apparently, we have some fungi already at work here. So those fungi are going to be busy growing, consuming the wood chips, spreading their little hyphae all the way through the soil, looking out for other places where they can eat decomposing material, and they're going to absorb and they're going to hold water. And they'll release that water back into the ecosystem as it's needed by decomposing, of course, and feeding the soil. So all of these organisms bank moisture and keep it in the soil through their life processes. But now we've got all of these areas here and there at your feet filled in with wood chips, packed down, and I measured it off, and we've got about 75 cubic feet of walkway filled with wood chips here. And I went over, which is kind of cool, I went over and did a rough estimate of this space, and it's about 200 square feet. So if we make a couple of estimations, one is that about 2/3 of that volume of wood chips can be infiltrated with water once it's soaked in really well. So that's about 50 cubic feet of water. 50 cubic feet of water spread out over 200 square feet, about the size of this little area that we're planting, gives us about 3 weeks that we can store water in the ground without having to worry about rainfall. Okay, now I've laid a foundation a water catchment system, something that's going to allow this garden to actually thrive even if I'm not there to constantly water and tend to it every day. The next thing we're going to do is going to prepare the soil, and then we'll go to planting. But that's other videos. Right now, let's recap. So in your first year, you're putting in wood chips, larger pieces of wood. That takes about 2 years to break down. It's going to lose some volume during that first year. After the end of that first year, it's going to lose some volume. You want to replace that. Replace that on your second year with stuff like this. This is corn stalk, but you could use the stalks from your Jerusalem artichokes, of course your corn stover, things like this. It takes about a full year for it to break down. Put that in on year number 2. Year number 3, you're going to follow it up with something like some nice peanut hay. Something left over after you harvest your peanuts. I didn't even harvest all these peanuts. I wonder if they're any good. Taking a risk here. We got it's been sitting out. It's been sitting out over the winter in the elements. Oh, hey, yeah, still got good peanuts. All right. So there we have it. 1, 2, 3 years. Wood chips, medium material, light material on year number 3. That's filling in those gaps. But light material, peanut hay, straw, that sort of thing, it's going to be gone within the season. So by the time you get to year number 4, it's time to dig those trenches back out, take all of your good quality soil that you've made through this process, put it on top of your beds, increase your soil depth again, and start over with the heavy wooden stuff all the way down there at the bottom, and repeat the process until you're completely and totally satisfied. At some point, you can probably just plant clover over your walkway and be done with it, and just walk on clover and be a happy gardener. Be a happy gardening though, yes. Well, hello there, good people. Hi, how are you doing? Have you ever had that problem where you go to the store and find that the shelves are all empty? You ever wonder what in the world you're going to cook up with all of your rice and beans to give them some flavor so that you don't just want to go, well, let's face it, bland food is not life-inspiring. I've got the answer for you. It's called Allium proliferum, Egyptian walking onions. Here they are. This is 1 dozen, and I'm not even in the sunlight so you can't see me. There we go. This is 1 dozen Allium proliferum plant starts. These are 1-year-old started from bulbils. Some people will send you the bulbils and sell you the bulbils. I don't do that. I will sell you living plants. That way you don't have to take a guess and wonder whether or not that bulbil that you planted is going to germinate and grow out into an actual plant. It's an actual plant. We ship these to you live starting in the spring, well, right now as a matter of fact. So head on over to greencountryagroforestry.com and order your Egyptian walking onions, a dozen for $25. That's how that's going for right now, a dozen for $25. Do it now, do it today, and you won't regret it, because just a few of these soon turns into enough onions to last a lifetime. So don't delay, head on over to greencountryagroforestry.com to get yours today, or check the link right down below. Okay, that's all I've got for you today, good people. As always, I hope you found today's video informative or entertaining, and if you did, you know what to do. I will catch you next time. Till then, get out there and get growing.